What's poppin', y'all? Have you ever had a moment, whether it was like maybe something in your house or something to do with your job, and you just think to yourself, I'll figure that out later, and it ends up costing you $1 million or such an outrageous amount when you could have fixed it earlier? Maybe the closest example is something with your car, and then, you go to the mechanic and they're like, well, this turned into this. If you came here earlier, it would have been significantly cheaper, and you're like, damn. Well, that's exactly what happened to Russ with one of his biggest songs ever, with Losing Control. So Russ, this song was off of his first album, and it was before he had even signed his deal to Columbia. He signed the deal in 2016. He dropped There's Really a Wolf, which is his debut album that was all mixed, mastered, written, produced, engineered by him. And in this album was the song Losing Control, which has nearly 1 billion streams now. There's 757 million streams on the song. And unfortunately, this ended up costing him a lot of money because he had a simple sample on it. Now, the thing, if you go look at the credits for the song now, you see Daniel Lopatin, 1 Tricks Point Never, who is likely the person that he sampled, because if you go through the credits for the rest of this project, and even Russ himself says he wrote all of it, you really don't see credits like that for much of anyone else. It's just Russ across the entire thing. And this is a mistake that many people make, but the problem is you don't really know what the right decision is. So I'm going to play you guys the clip first that Russ is talking about.
I got with that song because I forgot.
Why?
Because I forgot to clear the sample until after it was like 4 times platinum. And so I probably could have cleared it in 2015 when I made it, but I didn't know anyone in 2015. I'm a kid in the basement.
Yeah.
But I probably could have cleared it back then for $5,000. And so song comes out, goes on the album. I forget about it to the point where I'm like, I don't even remember if I sampled that. And then I was like, oh, fuck, I did. Like that pad, just 2 chords is a sample. And so the sample holders came like in, whatever that was, 2018 or 2020 or some shit. And I was like, fuck, because it was 4 or 5 times platinum at that point. So I had to cut a check for like $850,000.
That was expensive.
Yeah, it was an expensive fight. But it was fine because it was like I had just like re-upped with Columbia. I just gotten whatever advance that was for, like the 3rd album or something. And so I didn't even feel like I lost the money because it was just like, it went to me and then I just sent it to them. I was like, oh, whatever. I didn't even get to like touch it. Anyway.
So this song, he's talking about, it was already 4 times platinum, but he said he could have cleared it for $5,000. So here you have it. And the gut reaction of most people, especially people that haven't been involved in music whatsoever or in the business of music or paying to create a song, which costs a lot of money. Either you're getting a producer or maybe you're getting a rapper to feature on it. There's costs that you're thinking of. And then when you put out the song, there's marketing costs. At this time, I think Russ was just consistently releasing. I don't know if he was really spending much money on marketing, but $5,000 is a lot of money. And that's the thing. You're thinking about, do I clear a sample for a song that I don't know if anybody's even going to listen to? That's the thing. Like, what if the song just ended up doing a $1,500 worth in the future? You never really know how things are going to pan out. And you're running the math and thinking to yourself, well, $1,500, I could have made like who knows how many songs with that? Maybe another 5-6 songs. Granted, Russ's operating expenses were significantly lower than most rappers, considering that he did everything. But those could have been marketing costs. Those could have been costs for new equipment. So it's easy to say like, damn, this fool had to pay out $850,000, nearly $1 million, because he ain't even know how to clear a sample, or he didn't even look to clear a sample. And that's another thing. It's difficult to find certain sample holders. Like there are some rappers that sample. Like I know a rapper in particular right now, he has this crazy sample. This guy hasn't dropped music in years though, but I remember he sent me this song and I listened to him like, yo, this is hard. He's like, dog, I can't even find who the sample owners are. So he doesn't even know where to find them, where to start. It's so old, it's probably passed on by a state, and the people that own the sample probably don't even know that they own the sample. Like that's how obscure it is. And in this situation, what do? A lot of people just end up dropping it and they're like, hey, we'll see what happens later. Because if you never drop it, then, nothing really ever comes of it. But if you do drop it and it ends up making who knows how many millions of dollars. Like, let's say Russ is talking about that song was already 4 times platinum or more. 4 times platinum, it's generated like 4 million, maybe more than 4 million. Let's just say $5 million. And keep in mind, this didn't cost much to produce. Look at the music video. The music video for it, dog, it's filmed with his homie Edgar Estevez, who's now a major music video producer. But at that time, this didn't cost too much. It's just simple, him in the car. I think he even talks about the story in another interview about how this was filmed. So it didn't cost much, and you're paying $850,000. You end up getting hit upside the head. $850,000 for a song that's made what, $4-5 million at that point. You take it on the chin, because if you never released it, it would have never made anything. So you end up netting what, like $3-4 million. It's kind of painful when you have to pay it out of pocket if you're living like a rapper and spending crazy money and not taking it into account. But it also goes to show that he could have gotten the sample cleared a lot earlier. Probably once he signed with Columbia, he could have been like, yo, can we do something about this sample? Because I don't know if it was Losing Control that blew up first or What They Want. I remember What They Want was going up at that time. So maybe he just thought Losing Control wasn't going to catch up. Fortunately for Russ's sake, it was just like a sample. Like same thing that happened with Juice WRLD and Sting, right? Like Sting came for that Lucid Dreams. Not necessarily Juice WRLD. It was Nick Mira. But Lucid Dreams made Juice WRLD, and that made Nick Mira, and it provided all of these other opportunities for him to make money, and he learned from that lesson. But we all have to go through a lesson like that at some point. A lot of rappers go through it with a beat. They use a beat, or they just got a license for a beat, and they didn't actually buy the rights to the beat, and then the song blows up. And it's the one song that blew up out of maybe like 50, 100 songs that they had dropped before. So realistically, they just got unlucky because they didn't buy the rights to the other beats. So they just got unlucky that they were fortunate enough to blow up. And, they got to cut that check. They got to give that percentage when the producer comes knocking on the door. And it is what it is. It's more painful to do it. But a lot of the time, careful planning can prevent this. But it can also hurt the creative process. And I think I've fallen more in line with, I understand. I used to think, of course, the initial gut feeling that we all have is like, yo, that's dumb. You should have just, hindsight is 20/20, genius. Well, if you should have, how about you do something right now and make it blow up and make all the right decisions? Okay, yeah, all right. We'll wait until that happens. But I slowly started to, because I have a friend who's a rapper. He's an independent rapper. And early on in his career, he used to produce for himself, but he worked out this deal with a producer. So it was some younger kid, some overseas producer. He was like, listen, man, I'll give you consistent work and I will pay you like more than you're going to make usually per beat, but I need to own the whole beat. And he did that. And there are some songs that he took an L on, but he owns all of the masters, all of the publishing, everything. Like the producer doesn't own anything. He's just selling all the rights. I don't know if he still, I think he just sells all of the rights to the beat and hands it over. However, this rapper built up his catalog. He built up his catalog, and overall, he was netting, because anything that came in, any revenue that came in from his music, it all came directly back to him, and it made sense. However, the producer was giving him a really, really good rate as well. Like, most producers would scoff at like, yo, this guy was selling beats for that cheap? Yeah, I mean, every case is different, right? Like, every market is different. It's like, yo, I wouldn't produce clothes for less than this price. You go to a different factory, they're producing it for significantly less. You're not gonna go and be like, yo, you stupid factory, you're messing up my business, you need to charge more. That's not how the game works. So it ended up working out for him, but some songs he took an L on. Some songs he took a W on. It just so happened to be that the big W's outweighed a significant amount of the losses. And this is the same thing that record labels do. So like, yeah, sure, Russ didn't clear this sample and it cost him $850,000, and he probably could have cleared it earlier for maybe like less than $100K even when the song first started blowing up. But sometimes you just forget stuff. Like, you got to keep in mind, 2016, 2017, he's blowing up. He's also getting a ton of hate because now he's being exposed to the hip hop audience. Before that, he had his own fan base and a lot of them were showing him love and support. Now he was public enemy number one. Really? Like, God bless that guy for having the confidence and just almost like self-delusion to be able to face that much hate is a superpower. Like Justin Bieber, Russ, and the thing is, like, Russ's hate was concentrated, man. Like, he became the butt of every joke. There are a couple of people, That's why I have a level of admiration for famous people that are able to hold it together and just keep pushing it when they've had major phases of hate. There was never a phase where Russ was beloved by everybody in hip hop. He was getting a ton of hate. He was getting into scraps, so much so that he had to start getting into scraps with people. And it might sound like a little bit of a Russ Glaze session. We're not here to do that. It's just that these are important lessons that I think the most important lesson here is to weigh the options and to be intentional with the decision making. So, for example, if an artist is like, yo, I'm sampling this, or this has a sample and they don't really have any followers, F it, dog. Like, you don't got any followers. You're not making any money off of this. If it blows up, hey, you'll figure it out when it happens. But what are you going to do? Save money that you don't have in order to try to reach out to some dude with a sample? You're going to need to get a lawyer. You're going to need to go through all this paperwork. At that point, you're going to be like, man, this making music stuff ain't even fun anymore, because that's how it starts. You start off having fun, making the music and putting it out. If every rapper had to start off with, no, actually, you got to go through this legal process and get a lawyer and do this and make sure everything's good to go before you release and distribute a song, dog, most artists wouldn't even start. They'd be like, screw this, I'm doing something else. So I think Russ shared a really good story. There's a good lesson in it. But at the end of the day, man, an artist that's going to make it is an artist that's going to make it. And if they can make one, they can make, I wouldn't say they can make another hit. Russ has much bigger songs than Losing Control. What I'm saying is, hey, Coughing Up, 850K. I don't see anybody that got screwed by the sample. And actually, if you can give me an example, that would be great. That got screwed by the sample of one song that didn't end up having a successful career. And that sample clearance, or the person coming for their sample on that song, destroyed that artist financially. That may have been their biggest hit. Like, for example, I think, was it the Robin Thicke situation? I don't want to get into that, but let's just say that was the song. That is that guy's biggest song, but that guy's still doing huge shows off of it. And that's the thing too. You can perform the song. That's another avenue. That's why for producers, I understand them not being stingy, but being aggressive in negotiation, because they're like, listen, brother, you can get booked for festivals. You can get booked for shows. You can perform this song, even if you make $0 off of it from the back end. But I've only got one shot at this. I'm only making what this song generates. And that's another positive too. Like, even if you make $0 off of the song, Robin Thicke's still performing that Blurred Line song. And that was a crazy case. But let me know what y'all think about this in the comments. How do you, especially for the rappers here, how do you weigh these decisions? And like, let me know the stage of your career. Like, if you're making money from it, how do you weigh the decision? Do you just say, hey, this is not worth the expense? If you're new, do you just say, man, F it? Because I know, man, some rappers, they're just like, yo, I'm not even paying for the beat. I don't give it. Like, they're just stealing beats. And it's a different story if they're actually making money off of it. But I look at it like for example, like if you use a Disney logo and a Mickey Mouse and you're screen printing your own t-shirt, that's different than screen printing the t-shirt and selling a bunch of them and profiting off of it. So, people got to do what they got to do. But hey, if they come after you, that song's going down. That just reminded me of that Flow Rider song. I just heard Timber right after that. Yo, what the hell? I think that's my cue to end the video. Let me know what y'all think in the comments. Like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell if you enjoyed. And I'm going to see you on the next one.